Lewis had been aboard the Celestial Harmony for 8 months now, serving as the human liaison officer on the Interspecies Cooperation Council's flagship. The crew was diverse, 73 different species working together in the void between stars. He'd grown accustomed to the clicking of the wrecks, the humming songs of the Melodians, and the silent telepathic exchanges of the Mindweavers, but nothing had prepared him for Orla. She was Valeth, a species known for their striking bioluminescent patterns that shifted across their skin like living auroras, tall and graceful, with large eyes that reflected starlight in shades of violet and gold. The Valeth were considered one of the most aesthetically captivating species in the known galaxy. Orla worked in xenobiology, her lab adjacent to Lewis's cultural research station. Their friendship had developed naturally over shared meals in the observation deck, where Lewis would bring strange human foods, pickles, chocolate, coffee, and watch her elegant features contort in confusion at the bizarre tastes his species enjoyed. "You intentionally ferment vegetables and call it food?" she'd asked once, her skin flickering orange with amusement. "Wait until you try kimchi," Lewis had replied with a grin. But lately, something had changed. Orla's bioluminescence would pulse rapidly whenever Lewis entered a room, a Valeth sign of heightened emotional state. She'd linger near his station, asking questions about human customs that seemed oddly specific. Her colleagues had begun giving Lewis knowing looks he couldn't quite interpret. Tonight, Lewis stood alone in the observation deck, watching a nebula swirl in shades of crimson and gold. The Celestial Harmony would reach the neutral zone tomorrow, where he'd transfer to a human vessel for his scheduled leave. Lewis. He turned to find Orla standing in the doorway, her skin pulsing with waves of deep blue. Anxiety, he'd learned. She'd never looked more beautiful or more troubled. "Orla, I thought you'd be at the Valeth meditation hour." She stepped closer, her hands clasped together, a human gesture she'd adopted from him. "I skipped it. I needed to. I have to tell you something before you leave tomorrow." Lewis's heart rate increased. He'd been dreading and anticipating this conversation in equal measure. "Okay, what is it?" Orla's bioluminescence flickered rapidly through a dozen colors, the Valeth equivalent of fumbling for words. "In my culture, we believe in clarity, in speaking truth plainly, but I've studied human customs for months now, trying to understand the correct way to express certain feelings." "Orla, please let me finish." She took a breath, her skin settling into a deep rose color. "Human, I want you. Not as a research subject, not as a cultural curiosity. You, Lewis Chen, who brings terrible pickles and somehow makes them delightful, who laughs at my confusion over your species' bizarre mating rituals while explaining them with such patience, who sits with me in silence when words aren't needed." Lewis felt his chest tighten. "Orla, I can't take it anymore," she continued, her voice trembling. "Watching you leave tomorrow, knowing you might not return to this vessel. The uncertainty is against every Valeth instinct. We don't hide our desires. We don't play games. And I've been trying so hard to respect human courtship complexity, but I'm failing." The observation deck fell silent except for the ambient hum of the ship's systems. Lewis stared at this extraordinary being who just laid her heart bare with the kind of courage humans claim to be famous for. "You're not failing," Lewis said quietly. He stepped closer, closing the distance between them. "You're being honest. That's the most human thing you could do, the best human thing." Orla's bioluminescence flickered with confusion. "But your customs, the elaborate rituals of dating, the games of who contacts whom first, are mostly just people being afraid," Lewis interrupted. "Afraid of rejection, of vulnerability, of wanting something too much. You're right, it's complicated and often stupid." He smiled. "I've wanted to tell you how I feel for weeks, but I convinced myself it was impossible. Different species, different worlds, different biological needs." "The Interspecies Medical Council published a study last year," Orla said, her scientific mind engaging even in this emotional moment. 63 species have successfully formed long-term pair bonds across species lines. The key factors aren't biological compatibility. It's emotional resonance, mutual respect, and Lewis laughed, the sound warm and genuine. "Are you really citing research papers right now?" Orla's skin flushed pink, embarrassment. Yes, I prepared. I made charts. You made charts about us? 3 of them. With statistical analysis of successful human-Valeth relationships, There have been 12 documented cases. The success rate is 75%, which is higher than the average human-human pairing success rate of... Lewis reached out, gently taking her hand. Her skin was warm, pulsing with soft golden light at his touch. Orla, I don't need charts. I just need to know, is this what you really want? Not a research project, not a cultural experiment. Me. This. Whatever complicated thing we'd be figuring out together. Her bioluminescence stabilized into a steady, radiant gold. Joy, he'd learned. Pure joy, yes, she whispered. Though I should warn you, Valith bonding customs involve a ceremonial exchange of bioluminescent patterns. 3 formal meetings with family units and a compatibility trial period of... Lewis kissed her. It was clumsy at first, different physiologies requiring adjustment, her surprised gasp causing her skin to flash bright white, but then she relaxed into it, her hand coming up to touch his face with wonder. When they parted, Lewis was grinning. We'll figure out the customs together. Humans are good at adapting, it's kind of our thing. Orla's laughter was like music, her whole body glowing with happiness. Yes, I've read the reports. Humanity, fuck yeah, as your people say. Lewis burst out laughing. Where did you learn that phrase? Reddit archives. I've been studying human culture very thoroughly. Of course you have. He pulled her close, watching the nebula swirl beyond the viewport. I'm not leaving tomorrow. I'm going to request a posting extension. Your family can wait another few months. This? He gestured between them. This can't. Orla's bioluminescence pulsed in rhythmic waves, the Valith pattern for contentment, for home, for belonging. And Lewis realized that sometimes the most human thing wasn't stubbornness or ingenuity or resilience. Sometimes it was simply recognizing love, no matter what form it took.